Sometimes the truth is so painful that a person breaks even before speaking it. Derme les voices, on lit silence. And hidden inside that silence is an entire storm. This is the story of Arjun Mehra, a man who knew everything. Every lie of his wife Roopa, every betrayal, every tear, he felt them all. Yet he stayed quiet. Not because it didn't hurt him, but because in his heart there still lived a hope that maybe one day Roopa would come back. 20 years passed. Every day, Arjun hid a whole story behind his smile. The world said, "What an amazing husband." But no one knew how broken he was every night when he slept. He saw everything. His wife's changing words, changing faces, changing relationships. Ek nuital said a word, because sometimes love doesn't survive through words. It survives through waiting. Today on Funny Fun Audiobook Gala, listen to the story of a man who remained loyal even after being betrayed, who knew everything yet stayed silent. This is 20 years of betrayal, a story of love, pain, and silence. Chapter 1. The Betrayal Began, presented by Funny Fun Audiobook Gala. It was morning. The crowded streets of Mumbai buzzed as people hurried to their work. But inside Arjun Mehra's home, there was a strange kind of calm, or perhaps that calm was only on the surface. In the kitchen, the gas stove was lit. Steam rose from the tea kettle, and on the dining table sat a perfect breakfast. Exactly the way Roopa liked it. Arjun picked up his coffee mug and walked to the window. Outside, the sounds were the same as always. Children heading to school, the traffic constable's whistle, and the neighborhood Pandit Ji's morning bhajans. But something inside Arjun had changed. There was no peace in his eyes, only a little weariness, a little waiting, and a silence deeper than any pain. Roopa stepped out of the bedroom, a beautiful silk dupatta draped over her shoulders, and on her face that same sweet smile that once felt like it belonged only to Arjun. "Good morning, Arjun," she said, as if everything were perfectly normal. Arjun gave a faint smile and simply replied, "Good morning." But inside his heart, that smile pierced like an arrow, because he knew what was hidden behind it. In 20 years of marriage, Arjun had come to understand Roopa in every possible way. The lie hidden in her yes, the worry tucked in the corner of her eyes, and the missed calls from unknown numbers on her phone. He had seen it all. He had just never said a word. That day, Roopa got ready quickly. A new sari, a touch of light lipstick, and that perfume not for Arjun, but for someone else. "I'm going to the temple, Arjun. Mom had asked me to go yesterday, but I didn't get time," she said casually. Arjun only nodded. "Okay, Roopa." She knew Arjun wouldn't ask any questions. And Arjun knew that what Roopa was saying was not the whole truth. The door closed. For a moment, Arjun shut his eyes. A single tear rolled down his cheek, but it wasn't a tear of weakness. It was a tear of yet another weight. Flashback 10 years ago, presented by Funny Fun Audiobook Gala. Arjun and Roopa's marriage had just crossed the 10-year mark. Arjun Mehra Textiles. Arjun was honest, straightforward, the quiet backbone of the work. Roopa was sharp, smart, charming. Client meetings, parties, business dinners, she handled them all. One day, an email landed in Arjun's inbox. It was from an old client, Rakesh Khanna. The message read, "Sir, at last night's party, ma'am looked quite lonely without you. That was all. But for Arjun, it struck like lightning. He said nothing. He just looked at Roopa and read everything written on her face. From today, he meant inside his heart, he wouldn't till he knew the full truth. But when the truth finally came out, he stopped himself. Because sometimes knowing the truth is not easy. Some truths hurt more than life itself. She was at a cafe in Bandra, where someone was already waiting for her, Vikas. Vikas was her mother's cousin's son. But to Roopa, he was more than just a relative. He was her peace, or perhaps the result of her madness. They sat at the corner table. Vikas took her hand and said, "Roopa, enough now. Leave Arjun. He doesn't deserve you." Roopa lowered her eyes and replied, "Vikas, you won't understand. He never leaves me. I've been caught twice, yet he says nothing." Vikas looked surprised. "So he knows everything?" Roopa whispered, "Yes, everything. And still he?" "Yes," she said, tears filling her eyes. "Still he doesn't let me go. Because he believes one day I'll come back. But I won't, Vikas. I'm with him only out of habit now. Love stayed somewhere else long ago." Vikas lit a cigarette and said, "Then one day, break that habit too." Roopa stayed silent. She kept staring out the window, and somewhere inside her heart, she felt a strange emptiness. Meanwhile, Arjun at home, Arjun opened his diary. Every day he wrote the same line. Roopa left. Roopa returned. Nothing changed. His handwriting was perfectly calm, but every line was a spark. He wrote, "I know everything. Yet I still love her, because love is not a bargain. It is hope, and as long as hope lives, I will stay silent." He closed the diary and whispered to himself, "Maybe tomorrow something will change." But tomorrow never came. That night, Roopa came home with a faint smile. The temple was very crowded, she said. Arjun looked at her once and replied, "Okay, Roopa, you must be tired. Rest." There was no question in his tone, no suspicion, only a strange kind of love. Roopa went inside. Arjun walked to the window and stood there. He looked outside and said to himself, "I know, Roopa, you didn't go to the temple, but I will still wait for you." That night, the moon shone brighter than usual, and the pain in Arjun's heart shone even brighter. Some betrayals don't strike the eyes, they strike the soul. For Arjun, Roopa was not just his wife, she was his life. And when life betrays you, a person merely stays alive. He doesn't truly live. This was only the beginning. The real pain of the story was still to come. Because behind every truth, another truth lies hidden. Chapter 2, Caught Twice. From the audiobook, The Woman Who Never Returned. Presented by Funny Fun Audiobook, Gala. Every relationship eventually reaches its breaking point, and when trust begins to crack. The first thing to speak is silence. Between Roopa and Arjun, that silence was growing. Every conversation now ended halfway. Every glance stopped before it could say anything. And one day, that silence finally shattered. First time, the first wound of truth, it was an evening. Mumbai's weather was soaked in light rain. Arjun decided to leave the office early. He thought, "Today I'll have dinner with Roopa. It's been so long since we had a normal night." The moment he reached the door, he saw an unfamiliar car parked near the gate. A luxury black car no one in the neighborhood could afford one like that. Arjun stepped inside. The hall carried a faint trace of perfume, a strange scent. That Roopa wore only when she went for business meetings. Voices drifted in. Soft, filled with laughter, a little restless. The bedroom door was slightly ajar. Arjun looked through the gap, and his feet froze to the floor. Roopa was sitting with another man. Their hands were intertwined, eyes lost in each other. The man was none other than Vikas. Something inside Arjun broke. He stood there for a few seconds, then walked out of the house without a word. The rain had grown heavier, and a storm raged in his heart. He sat on Marine Drive all night. He kept thinking, why don't I confront her? Was I wrong? Or is love my greatest weakness? When he returned home in the morning, Roopa was perfectly normal, as if nothing had happened. Arjun, where were you for so long? I was worried, she said. Arjun just looked at her and softly replied, I went to watch the rain. Tatoueur allemand. From that day on, instead of speaking the truth, Arjun began recording every lie of Roopa's in his silence. Second time, the habit of betrayal 2 years passed. Arjun now knew everything, yet never said a word. Roopa had become a habit for him, a small habit that caused pain. But living without it felt impossible too. One day, Roopa said, Arjun, I need to go to Mom's for a few days. She isn't feeling well. Arjun simply replied, Okay, but I'll come visit tomorrow. The color drained from Roopa's face. She quickly said, Arjun, no need. I'll manage on my own. Arjun just smiled. I'll still come. The next day, Arjun left without telling her. He didn't go to Roopa's mom's house. He went to a small hillside resort in Lonavala, because by mistake a message had appeared on his phone. Meet you at the hill resort. Can't wait to see you. Sender, Vikas. Arjun never deleted that message. It was his proof. But he never felt like showing it. In the resort lobby, Arjun saw them. Roopa and Vikas having coffee by the pool, laughing together as if there wasn't a single problem in life. Arjun watched from a distance, then turned back without a word. Sitting in the car, he opened his diary and wrote, saw it again today, and forgave again today. Because for him, forgiving was easier than the pain. Roopa's perspective that night, Roopa had a dream. It was the dream of her guilt. She saw Arjun telling her, Roopa, I know everything. She woke up drenched in sweat. Roopa kept wondering, Arjun has never said a word, but what if he knows everything? Then why is he still with me? For the first time, a flicker of fear entered her heart. She would look at Arjun and marvel. How can a man stay so calm when everything has been stolen from him? Arjun's decision, Arjun thought. Let Roopa live with her lies. I will keep living with my truth. He continued to manage both the company and the home, but began keeping his distance from Roopa. Conversations grew shorter, and their hearts drifted apart, yet love stayed hidden somewhere. One day, he told his friend Rahul, I just want to see how long Roopa can keep hiding. Rahul said, Arjun, how much longer will you bear this? 20 years of lies, and you're still silent. Arjun smiled and replied, in love, everything can be endured. One day, it all ends on its own. The confrontation caught the second time. One evening, Arjun came home a little early. Roopa thought he was still at the office. She was on the phone with Vikas. Arjun doesn't understand anything. He just lives in his own world. Then a voice came from behind her. "I do understand, Roopa." Roopa spun around. Arjun was standing there. No tears in his eyes, only a strange calm. "You know everything?" she asked. Arjun said softly, "I've known everything for 20 years. Roopa's breath faltered. "And yet you never said anything." Arjun answered, "Because I kept believing one day you would come back." After that, only silence filled the house. Just the tick-tock of the clock and the pounding of Roopa's heart. Roopa asked, "What will you do now, Arjun?" Arjun replied, "Nothing now. I'm simply from Urdu and Kautuis." That night, Roopa opened Arjun's diary. On every page was written, "I still love her today. But today I forgave her again." Her tears fell onto the pages. For the first time, Roopa realized, true love is not the one that possesses you. It is the one that lets you go and still prays for you. That night, Arjun left the house. The diary lay on the table with a small note on top. "I haven't lost, Roopa. I've simply stopped. Now go meet yourself." Roopa looked out the window. As Arjun's car disappeared into the distance, that night was the longest night of Roopa's life. Sometimes a person doesn't betray because they are unfaithful, but because they are afraid to face the truth within themselves. For Roopa, Arjun was a habit. But for Arjun, Roopa was his entire life. And when life walks away, a person doesn't just leave anymore. He merely passes through the days. Chapter 3, 20 Years of Waiting. From the audiobook, The Woman Who Never Returned. Presented by Funny Fun Audio Book Gala. Some waits last a month, some last years, and some sink so deep into a man that they stay for 20 years. Arjun's wait had now turned 20 years old. He had lived half his life paused for Roopa. Every night he fell asleep thinking, maybe tomorrow Roopa will have changed. But tomorrow never came, Roopa's new life. After Arjun left, Roopa shattered for an entire year. She moved back to her mother's house. Even Vikas's shadow vanished. Because for him, Roopa had only been an adventure. One day her mother said, "Beta, Arjun was a very good man. You can still go back to him." Roopa smiled faintly and replied, "Ma, Arjun won't come back now. I've walked out of his life myself." Yet deep inside, somewhere, she still felt, Arjun will look at me once more, forgive me one last time. But life never gave her that chance. Arjun's solitude. On the other side, Arjun drowned himself completely in his company, Verma, associates. He chose work over love. In his home, now, there was only one thing left: his diary. Every year Arjun wrote a single line in it. The wait for Roopa is still alive today. Friends told him, "Arjun, move on now. Build a new life." But Arjun only ever said one thing: "I don't want to move forward. I just want to forgive Roopa." That's all. That forgiveness had become his inner peace. Zeragnon. 20 years later, one evening Arjun attended a seminar, a corporate event titled Mind and Marriage Balance. The speaker on stage was Roopa Sharma. The glass in Arjun's hand trembled. He stared at Roopa. She was mature now, but those eyes still held the same innocent pain that once broke his heart. Roopa was speaking on stage. Life taught me if you live with your lies, you can never find your truth. Her gaze fell on Arjun. Their eyes met. A few seconds of silent stillness. After the event, Roopa walked up to him and said, "Arjun, you." Arjun simply replied, "Yes, I'm still here, the reckoning of the heart." Sitting at a coffee table, Roopa asked, "Are you still single?" Arjun said, "I fall in love only once. After that, only the weight remains." Tears filled Roopa's eyes. She said, "Arjun, I was wrong. I never understood love." Arjun said softly, "I have already forgiven you, but now I have also let you go." Roopa held his hand. "Can we try once more?" Arjun smiled. "Roopa, 20 years of waiting cannot be lessened by one sorry from you." And he gently pulled his hand away. Roopa's breaking *** that night, Roopa cried alone in her hotel room. Standing in front of the mirror, she told herself, "Arjun never punished me, but I will keep punishing myself for the rest of my life." "Arjun," she messaged him, "you have erased me, Arjun, but I will never be able to forget you." Arjun didn't reply. He simply opened his diary and wrote a new line. "Today, the wait ended. Today I became free." The letter, a week later, a parcel arrived at Roopa's house. Inside was Arjun's old diary and a short note. "Roopa, I knew you would come back, but I am no longer that Arjun. Now I live only with my soul. Live for yourself, Arjun." Reading the note, Roopa lit a lamp and said, "Love never belongs to anyone. It only teaches you how to live without it." Closing, voiceover. Sometimes love is not a victory, it is a wait. For Arjun, those 20 years of waiting became his entire life. For Roopa, those 20 years of waiting became her punishment. The end of love never lies in pain. It always lies in understanding. Arjun had learned. True peace comes only when you let go of what was never truly yours. Chapter 4. When the Heart Forgives. From the audiobook, The Woman Who Never Returned. Presented by Funny Fun Audiobook Gala, some stories never truly end. They simply fall silent, and when the heart forgives, a person finally meets himself for the first time. Arjun's new dawn. It was 6 a.m. Arjun stood in front of the temple, a small diary in his hand, a strange peace in his heart. He said, "Hey God, I have forgiven her. Now I just want to live for myself." After 20 years, there was a smile on his face. Roopa had left, but she had taken his anger with her. All that remained with Arjun now was silence. And that silence, too, was peace, Roopa's search. On the other side, Roopa had gone to Haridwar. On the banks of the Ganga, she tore out a few pages from the diary and let them float away in the water. Tears streamed from her eyes. But for the first time, those tears didn't feel like a burden. She thought, "Arjun has forgiven me, so I forgive myself too." She smiled and said, "Maybe this is what love is, when even pain turns into a prayer." Atur nov fat. Awiklateve again. This time at an NGO event, where both were guests for a widow's empowerment project. Arjun saw Roopa, but for the first time there was no pain in his heart, only respect. Roopa said, "Arjun, you've changed." Arjun smiled. "No, Roopa, I'm just trying to forgive." And when the heart forgives, life feels brand new. They greeted each other with a simple salam. No promise of love, no offer of friendship, just a quiet goodbye. The journey of the heart. That night, Arjun closed his diary for good. He wrote, "Today I need nothing from Roopa. I only pray that she stays happy." And Roopa wrote in her diary, "Today I understood forgiveness is the greatest form of love." Both sets of words were written at the same moment under the same moon, yet neither of them knew. Surreal. The following year, Arjun began teaching at an orphanage, laughter, play, and stories with the children. He felt life has truly come back. One little girl said, "Uncle, you look sad sometimes." Arjun smiled, not sad, beta. Just remembering an old story. Then he prayed from his heart. Roopa, wherever you are, be happy. Roopa's diary, the final page. A small scrap of paper found in Roopa's home read, "Arjun forgave me. So I forgive life too, living for someone. And then letting them go both are forms of love." Closing voiceover. Love is never just about staying together. Sometimes it is the courage to let go. En love's trueste forme. The story of Arjun and Roopa does not end here. It simply transforms. Now, both have learned to smile in their own lives. And perhaps somewhere above, God is smiling too. Because when the heart forgives, the world starts looking beautiful again. Chapter 5. Some Stories Never Come Back. From the audiobook, The Woman Who Never Returned. Presented by Funny Fun Audiobook Gala. Some relationships are better left only as memories, because when you try to relive them, they turn into nothing but pain. Today, there was no anger left in Arjun's heart, no waiting, only a peace that had arrived after years. Une journée. Arjun's routine had changed with the sunrise. Gone were the temple bells. Now his days echoed with children's laughter. He had become a teacher at a school for orphan children, children who had never known the feeling of love. And perhaps that's why Arjun thought, "Let me fill my own emptiness through them." Every evening, he read a story to one little girl. But today she asked, "Uncle, don't you have a story of your own?" Arjun smiled. "I did, beta." But now it has turned into a prayer, Roopa's final step. Roopa had left Delhi and settled in Shimla. She had locked her past inside a small trunk, containing only Arjun's photograph, one letter, and a Mangal Sutra. Every morning she watched the Ganga Aarti and whispered, "Maybe Arjun is praying for the same thing today." One evening she went to the temple, lit a lamp, and said, "I was wrong, Arjun, but you turned out to be right." On her face was one final smile, the kind that is born only between regret and peace. The fate of Arjun and Roopa. One day the news flashed on TV. A woman named Roopa Sharma passed away due to a heart attack in a temple in Shimla. The teacup slipped from Arjun's hand. He stayed silent for a very long time. Then he simply said, maybe this was her peace. That night, for the first time, he lit a lamp in front of her photograph and said, "I will remember you, but I will not search for you." Life's new meaning. The following month, Arjun began writing a book. Its title, Some Stories Never Come Back. The book contained neither Roopa's name nor the mention of her mistakes, only one message. Forgiveness is the gift you give yourself, not others. the book was launched. People cried while reading it, smiled, and learned that sometimes the meaning of love is simply to let go. Sometimes in life, the people you love the most leave you. But remember, they don't leave you. They leave a chapter of your destiny. The story of Roopa and Arjun ends here. But their feelings live on in someone else's heart. And perhaps that is why they say some stories never come back, but they always stay alive. Chapter 5. Some Stories Never Come Back. From the audiobook, The Woman Who Never Returned. Presented by Funny Fun Audiobook Gala. Some relationships are better left only as memories, because when you try to relive them, they turn into nothing but pain. Today, there was no anger left in Arjun's heart, no waiting, only a peace that had arrived after years. Anning, a new journée. Arjun's routine had changed with the sunrise. Gone were the temple bells. Now, his days echoed with children's laughter. He had become a teacher at a school for orphan children, children who had never known the feeling of love. And perhaps that's why Arjun thought, "Let me fill my own emptiness through them." Every evening, he read a story to one little girl. But today she asked, "Uncle, don't you have a story of your own?" Arjun smiled. "I did, beta." But now it has turned into a prayer, Roopa's final step. Roopa had left Delhi and settled in Shimla. She had locked her past inside a small trunk, containing only Arjun's photograph, one letter, and a Mangal Sutra. Every morning she watched the Ganga Aarti and whispered, "Maybe Arjun is praying for the same thing today." One evening she went to the temple, lit a lamp, and said, "I was wrong, Arjun, but you turned out to be right." On her face was one final smile, the kind that is born only between regret and peace. The fate of Arjun and Roopa ***. One day, the news flashed on TV. A woman named Roopa Sharma passed away due to a heart attack in a temple in Shimla. The teacup slipped from Arjun's hand. He stayed silent for a very long time. Then he simply said, maybe this was her peace. That night, for the first time, he lit a lamp in front of her photograph and said, "I will remember you, but I will not search for you." Life's new, meaning ***. The following month, Arjun began writing a book. Its title, Some Stories Never Come Back. The book contained neither Roopa's name nor the mention of her mistakes, only one message. Forgiveness is the gift you give yourself, not others. The book was launched. People cried while reading it, smiled, and learned that sometimes the meaning of love is simply to let go. Sometimes in life, the people you love the most leave you. But remember, they don't leave you. They leave a chapter of your destiny. The story of Roopa and Arjun ends here. But their feelings live on in someone else's heart. And perhaps that is why they say some stories never come back, but they always stay alive.